The Golden State Warriors are looking really scary. Let's get into this. At the beginning of the season, the Golden State Warriors were looking like they weren't going to be so great this season, and very similar to as they were last season, they were getting off to a very slow start. And at the beginning of the season and earlier on in the season, for the Warriors to win any game, Steph Curry would have to go absolutely berserk in that game for them to even win. This was a little bit disappointing at the beginning of the season when the Warriors were struggling to get wins together, just due to the fact over the offseason, the Warriors just brought in Kelly Oubre Jr., which is a really nice young player they brought in, and on top of that, they just had the second overall pick and picked James Wiseman, so there's a lot of expectations for him as well. But unfortunately for the Warriors, both Kelly Oubre Jr. and James Wiseman had a pretty rough start to their Warriors career. Kelly Oubre at the beginning of the season just couldn't hit any three-pointers whatsoever. He had a crazy streak of misses, and even besides that, he couldn't necessarily get his overall game going where he would get to the basket and have some nice dribble pull-ups, just due to the fact he was missing so many threes. He was losing confidence out there. And for James Wiseman, he's a guy who's coming into the NBA after only one season in college, and in that season of college he only played 2 games, so it was kind of expected that Wiseman would struggle at least at the start of the season with the Warriors. But as the season progressed, you could start to see the Warriors were starting to get their chemistry together, and their defense was really taking a step up. Unfortunately for the Warriors, James Wiseman did end up getting hurt for the entire season, so he's not there anymore for this season at least. But there are a few guys I wanted to talk about and the reason why I think the Warriors are playing so well now. First, let me start off with Steph Curry. Obviously, Steph Curry is playing like an MVP this season. He's going absolutely berserk this year. When Steph Curry gets hot out there, it's basically impossible to stop him as a defense. There's so many clips going around the league where you see teams double, triple, even putting 4 guys on Steph Curry and he's still hitting threes in their face. As a defender, you definitely don't want to see Steph Curry hot because he's a great shooter as it is, but when he gets hot, it's impossible. It's game over. And Curry this season has taken the Warriors to countless victories when maybe they otherwise wouldn't have won if it weren't for him. I don't necessarily think Steph Curry is going to win the MVP this season. Maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully I'm wrong for his sake, but definitely Steph Curry has been playing so well this season, he will definitely get a top 3 MVP vote, maybe even top 2. Steph is the reason why this offense is running. When Curry is hot, or even just in general, when Curry's out there on the floor, defenses obviously cater towards him, and that gives Curry easy opportunities to kick out to his teammates for wide open threes. And also another play I like that the Warriors run is the play where they run a down screen for Steph Curry, or him just coming off a screen in general, and Draymond is handling the ball and easily kicks it to Steph Curry for a pretty open 3, and he's obviously money from that. Steph Curry has always been great throughout his whole career, but this season, especially without Clay, his teammates are really leaning more on him, and Curry has definitely stepped up. But the next guy I wanted to touch upon, and it's been a little bit of a surprise to me personally, is Andrew Wiggins. The Warriors acquired Andrew Wiggins when they traded D'Angelo Russell to the Timberwolves. Wiggins was always a pretty decent, nice young player, but the only issue with Wiggins is he was pretty inefficient, and he was known as a guy who wasn't necessarily winning. To be fair, he was on the Timberwolves, which isn't a great organization, but either way, that was a perception around him. And at the time, Wiggins had a pretty decently sized contract, and a lot of people thought that T-Wolves made an amazing move by not only being able to get D'Angelo Russell, but also trading Andrew Wiggins and getting that contract off their books. But those people were definitely wrong, at least so far, because this season, Andrew Wiggins has absolutely been balling out. Wiggins, ever since he was drafted by the Timberwolves, has always been a really good scorer in this league. Wiggins has that dribble pull-up game with the mid-range going pretty decently well, and he can also get to the basket pretty well with that athleticism that he has, but he was kind of only limited to those 2 things throughout his whole career. But this season for the Warriors, he's definitely still doing that and building upon that, but this year something that he's added to his game is his 3-point shooting. Wiggins is shooting 34% on his career from 3-point range, but this season he's really taken that to the next level, and he's shooting close to 38% this year, which is a huge jump. Now when you have Wiggins able to shoot that 3 ball, it really takes so much pressure off a guy like Steph Curry, and really helps the offense flow so much better now. Because before Andrew Wiggins could shoot that 3 ball, Steph Curry, when he was working by himself one-on-one or in the pick and roll or whatever, Andrew Wiggins would just be standing there on the 3-point line, but his defender would not really have a worry of him making that shot, so they would easily double team and help down in the paint on that pick and roll, or they would double team Steph Curry and not worry too much about Andrew Wiggins shooting threes. But now the fact that he could shoot threes, that defender really has to respect that and stay close to him. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins shooting threes helps his team so so much. And it's not like Wiggins is only shooting wide open catch and shoot threes, he's taking off the dribble threes and also contested threes off screens. So it's pretty crazy to see the transformation this guy had from 3-point range. But another part of Andrew Wiggins' game that I think really is probably one of the biggest reasons why the Warriors are playing so well and are so dangerous right now is his defensive ability. Wiggins always had the potential to be such a great defender because he's obviously insanely athletic, he's pretty long as well, and he can move his feet very well defensively, so he always had those tools. And you could see throughout the years that Andrew Wiggins was definitely improving defensively, but this season it looks like he put that all together. Wiggins is guarding the opposing team's best player basically every night and almost locking him down. He also switches very well off screens that can guard basically 1 through 4. Wiggins is also pretty good in the pick and roll because he uses that athleticism and length to get up there and get blocks. He's a very good shot blocker for his position. And on top of all that, Wiggins has very good defensive IQ, and he also gets a pretty decent amount of steals as well. All around, Andrew Wiggins has just been such a great defender for the Warriors this season. Obviously, as I mentioned, he's a great on-ball defender, a great team defender, and he has great defensive IQ. Obviously, Draymond Green has been such a great defender for the Warriors for years now, but when you add another guy like Andrew Wiggins, who has similar defensive ability, at least this season, he's definitely been playing like it, that really helps out your team so significantly, because now when you're playing the top teams, when they have guys like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, LeBron, or other wings like that, now you have Draymond Green and you have Andrew Wiggins to throw at those guys and tire them out. It used to be it's only Draymond guarding those guys, and it's a very tough matchup obviously, but now when you have two different guys that are capable of at least trying to stop those guys, it really helps you out a lot. I really think Andrew Wiggins helps out the Golden State Warriors so much, especially this season. Another guy I really wanted to touch upon is Draymond Green. Of course, Draymond is not the flashy player, but he does all the dirty work. He gets rebounds. He's obviously, as I mentioned before, he's a great defender and he really can guard 1 through 4. But also another part of Draymond Green's game that is so important to the Warriors offense is the fact that he's usually the guy that's playmaking for them. Steph Curry's usually coming off down screens to get wide open threes, but Draymond's really the guy who's really running the offense for the Warriors, so he's very important in terms of that. Draymond doesn't necessarily put up crazy stats and he's not a guy that people get excited about, but I really think he's very important to the Warriors and one of the biggest reasons why